When Nora Adams arrives at Deadwood Station expecting to meet her fiancé, she instead finds herself abandoned in a harsh frontier world filled with danger and uncertainty. Rescued by Isaiah Jackson, a rugged cowboy with a quiet strength and a guarded heart, Nora discovers safety where she least expected it. As days turn into weeks, the refuge he offers becomes something deeper: comfort, trust, and a love neither of them anticipated. But when her missing fiancé finally returns, demanding she leave with him, Nora must choose between the life she planned, and the life her heart has found. In the summer of 1878, Nora Adams stepped off the dusty stagecoach at Deadwood Station, her gloved hands trembling as she clutched a small carpetbag in the promise of a fresh start. The bustling station buzzed with noise, miners shouting, horses snorting, wagons rolling across uneven earth, but Nora focused only on one thing: finding her fiancé, Charles Whitmore, the man who had written tender letters promising her a peaceful life and a home of her own. But as the minutes stretched into hours, Charles did not appear. Her heart tightened with each passing moment. She replayed his last letter in her mind, the flowery words, the assurances of love, the insistence that she'd join him as soon as she could. But now, surrounded by unfamiliar faces and the rough pulse of the frontier, she felt fear creeping into her chest. Evening settled in, lanterns flickered across the station buildings, and shadows grew long. Still, Charles was nowhere to be found. When a group of rowdy miners began circling a little too close, Nora stepped back, her breath quickening. Then, a calm, steady voice sounded behind her. "You look like you're needin' some help, ma'am." Nora turned to see a tall cowboy with weathered features, dark hair brushing his collar, and sharp eyes softened by concern. He removed his hat respectfully. "Name's Isaiah Jackson." With no fiancé to greet her, nowhere to sleep, and danger rising around her, Nora accepted Isaiah's offer of refuge. He guided her to his ranch on the outskirts of town, a modest homestead nestled against rolling hills, framed by pine trees and open sky. It was simple but warm, especially compared to the cold uncertainty she had just faced. Isaiah gave her the spare room and assured her she could stay until she found Charles or decided what steps to take next. Nora was struck by his quiet strength, his steady presence, and the gentle way he treated her, not as a burden, but as someone worth protecting. Days turned into weeks. Isaiah introduced her to frontier life, feeding the horses before sunrise, repairing fences, gathering water from the well, and preparing meals from whatever the land provided. Nora, who had grown up in a more refined household, found the work strangely healing. The wide-open land soothed her heart, and so did Isaiah's company. Their conversations grew deeper. Nora shared the struggles of her past, the loneliness, the pressure to marry for stability rather than love. Isaiah confessed his fears of opening his heart again after losing someone years before. Slowly, a bond formed between them, something strong, unspoken, and undeniable. Then came the day Charles Whitmore finally appeared. He arrived not with apologies or explanations, but with arrogance and impatience. He demanded Nora leave at once, accusing her of impropriety for staying with another man. Nora felt old dread creeping in, the dread of being controlled, belittled, and treated like property. But Isaiah stood firm, placing himself between them. "Nora stays if she wants to," he said quietly, steel in his voice. In that moment, Nora realized what her heart had been trying to tell her from the start: Charles was not her future. Isaiah was. She told Charles she was done with him. Outraged, he stormed away, leaving Nora free for the first time in her life. The following weeks were filled with peace, laughter, and a deepening affection that neither could ignore. Under a sky streaked with fading sunset, Isaiah finally knelt before her, his rough hands trembling as he held out a small silver ring he'd worked on for days. "Nora Adams, would you build a life with me?" Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Yes." And so, in the heart of Deadwood Station, where she had once arrived frightened and alone, Nora found not only safety, but a love strong enough to last a lifetime.